Captain Raymond sat alone inside his spaceship, Echohawk. The lights were dim, the engines quiet, and space stretched outside like a never-ending black ocean. It had been a long journey, and things were supposed to go smoothly. But something was wrong. Every morning, Raymond checked the fuel readings. And every morning, the fuel was a little lower. Not much, just enough to make him nervous. It didn't make sense. The ship was working fine. There were no error messages. No alarms, no leaks, but the numbers didn't lie. Raymond stood up from his chair and walked to the fuel room for the 5th time that week. The heavy door opened with a hiss. The large silver tank stood tall, clean and silent. He scanned the area. No drops. No cracks. No strange smells. Everything looked normal. "Maybe I'm just losing it," he muttered, scratching his beard. "Or maybe the sensors are glitching." Still, his gut told him something was wrong. That night, Raymond couldn't sleep. He lay in his small bunk, staring at the ceiling. The hum of the ship was steady, but his mind was racing. Where was the fuel going? Finally, around 2 a.m. ship time, he made a decision. He got up quietly, pulled on his boots, and grabbed a small scanner and a flashlight. He tiptoed down the hallway, moving past cargo crates and control panels. He reached the fuel room and didn't turn on the lights. Instead, he slipped inside and hid behind a crate, waiting in silence. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Nothing. Raymond almost gave up, but then he heard it. A soft metallic click. His breath stopped. He leaned forward, heart pounding. Another click, then a drip. Then something moved. A shadow, small, thin, walking towards the fuel tanks. Raymond held his breath as the figure stepped into the faint light from a vent. What he saw didn't make sense. It looked like a girl. A young girl, maybe 16, but not human. Her skin was silver blue. Her eyes glowed soft blue like stars. Her hair floated gently, even though there was no wind. She wore a strange cloth thin, shiny and flowing like liquid metal. She knelt next to the fuel tank and placed her hands on the pipe. Then, shockingly, she opened a small valve and drank from it. Yes, she drank the fuel. Raymond's mouth fell open. Was he dreaming? Was this a hallucination? The girl leaned back, wiping her mouth like someone finishing a drink. She smiled. It was a peaceful, innocent smile, like a child stealing juice. He moved just a little. His scanner beeped by mistake. The girl's eyes snapped toward him. For a second, they stared at each other. Man and alien, human, and something else. Raymond stood slowly, hands raised. "Don't move," he said calmly. The girl didn't run. She tilted her head. Her glowing eyes looked curious, not afraid. Raymond stepped closer, heart racing. "Who are you? How did you get on my ship?" The girl said nothing. Instead, she placed a hand on her chest and spoke one soft word. "Talai." Her voice was musical, like a soft wind chime. Raymond blinked. "Talai, is that your name?" She nodded. Rymo, and looked around. How had she survived here? The fuel room was sealed. The ship was locked. She had no suit, no ID, no sign-in logs. And she was breathing just fine. This doesn't make sense. Raymond said to himself, "You can't be real." Tally slowly stood. She didn't look scared. She looked tired. Her legs shook a little. She was clearly weak. Raymond noticed something on her arm, a strange mark, like a glowing tattoo. It pulsed slowly with light. "Talai," he said, pointing to the valve. "That's not water. That's fuel. It's toxic." She didn't understand. She smiled again, then softly repeated, "Fuel." "Good." Raymond stared. She was drinking spaceship fuel, like it was soup. That explained the missing fuel. But it didn't explain how she got on board, or who she really was. A thought hit him. Like a punch, she might not be a stowaway. She might be something worse. Raymond sat frozen in front of the strange girl. Talai. The glow from her skin reflected softly on the steel walls of the fuel room. Her large blue eyes blinked slowly as she looked around, calm and peaceful, as if standing on a beach instead of inside a spaceship. But Raymond's hands were shaking. She didn't look dangerous. She looked like a lost child. But she had somehow entered a secured ship, survived in space without gear, and drank pure spaceship fuel like juice. That wasn't normal. That wasn't human. Raymo slowly reached for his communicator. Echo Hawk. AI, scan the room for unknown life forms. A soft voice replied. One unknown life form detected, not listed in human database. Vital signs stable. No immediate threat detected. Raymond lowered the communicator. Still, his heart didn't stop pounding. Talai, he said again, trying to speak slowly and clearly. Where are you from? Talai tilted her head. Her glowing eyes watched his mouth carefully. Then she looked at the fuel valve and pointed. Energy, she said softly. I need energy. Raymond sighed and rubbed his face. I can't just let you drink my ship's fuel. It's dangerous for both of us. Talai didn't seem to understand. She walked over to the fuel tank again, touching it gently like it was something precious. The ship gave a soft beep as pressure changed slightly. Raymond flinched. Hey! Stop, that's dangerous. She looked at him and stepped back, obedient, like a child being scolded. Raymond noticed something strange. Her skin was getting dimmer, like her light was fading. Was she sick? Something inside him shifted. He wasn't angry anymore. He felt responsible, like she was his problem now. He motioned her to follow. She hesitated, then walked behind him as he led her to the cargo bay. She walked barefoot, leaving no sound behind. Her movements were graceful, like she was walking underwater. They reached a quiet corner of the cargo area. Raymond pointed to a soft seat. Sit. She sat down, still watching him with curious eyes. Raymond opened a locker and pulled out a pack of emergency rations. He held one out. Talai took it, sniffed it, and made a face. No. She shook her head. Not food. Raymond frowned. Of course not. You eat fire juice. He sat across from her and stared. How did you get here, Talai? My ship left Earth Station 3 weeks ago. There were no passengers, no stops. Talai closed her eyes and slowly reached into the folds of her strange metallic dress. She pulled out a small glowing object like a crystal. It hovered slightly in her hand. She spoke one clear word. Crash. Raymond leaned in. You crashed? She nodded. Then she made 2 fists and smashed them together. Boom. She pointed toward herself. Escape. Then she touched his ship's wall. Hide. Raymond blinked. You latched onto my ship in deep space after your own ship exploded? She nodded again. That meant she had been outside, floating in nothingness, maybe clinging to his ship's hull during the space jump. And she survived. That should have killed her, but she wasn't just alive. She was here, glowing softly and drinking spaceship fuel like a smoothie. Raymond stood up. He paced the floor. This is insane. You shouldn't exist. You break every rule of science I know. Talai stood too. She walked over to him and gently touched his arm. Her fingers were warm, strangely warm. A soft pulse passed through his skin, and for a second, he felt something strange, like his fear was being pulled out of his body. Raymond stepped back, startled. What did you just do? Talai looked concerned. Sorry, calm, she said softly. I make you calm. Raymond stared at her. You can feel my emotions? She shrugged. A little. He sat back down, overwhelmed. So, not only are you invisible to scanners, can breathe without air, and drink rocket fuel, but now you're a walking mood controller? Talai didn't understand all his words, but she smiled anyway. Raymond chuckled to himself. Great, I've picked up a magical space girl. He stood and looked out the window. Stars blinked quietly outside. So much mystery, so much danger. And somehow, the strangest part of his journey was sitting behind him, small, glowing, and smiling. But the smile wouldn't last long. The ship's AI interrupted. "Captain, unusual power signature detected. Origin, unknown device attached to ship hull." Raymond's face turned pale. He looked at Talai. Her expression changed. Her glow-dimmed dot, she whispered one word. "Hunters." Raymond's heart stopped for a moment. The word Tali had whispered echoed in his mind like a warning bell. Hunters. He turned to look at her. Her glowing skin was now pale. Her hands were shaking. She was afraid. This time, deeply afraid. "Hunters?" Raymond asked slowly. "Who are they? Are they following you?" Talai didn't answer. She was breathing fast, eyes wide, staring at the floor like a scared child. The AI repeated again, voice more urgent now. "Captain, external device detected. On the hull. It is emitting a long-range energy signal." Raymond rushed to the control deck and pulled up the ship's exterior cams. His fingers flew across the controls. On the side of the Echo Hawk's engine, barely visible, was a small spider-like device. Stuck to the hull, it blinked red. "A tracker. Damn it," Raymond whispered. "We've been marked." Behind him, Talai walked slowly into the room. Her light was flickering like a dying flame. "They find me now," she said in broken English. "I run far, but they always find." Raymond turned sharply. "Who are they, Talai? Why are they hunting you?" Talai looked up. Her eyes shimmered, not with glow this time, but with tears. "I escape," she said softly. "From lab, not ship, not home. I was not ... born. I was made." Raymond stared at her. "You're a creation?" Talai nodded slowly. "Test weapon. For war. Energy feeder. They give fuel. I grow, strong. Then, I run." She touched her chest gently. A soft white light glowed beneath her skin. "I want to live, not destroy." Raymond felt something strange inside, anger, sadness, and a growing protectiveness. "You mean they created you to be a weapon? To fight their wars?" "Yes," she said. "They say I belong to them. I am ... property." Raymond slammed his fist on the control panel. "You're not a thing. You're not their property. You're a living being." Talai blinked. Her lips trembled. "You believe me?" "Yes," Raymond said without hesitation. "And I'm not giving you back to those monsters." The ship and I interrupted again. Warning. Unidentified vessel approaching at high velocity. Eta. 12 minutes. Raymond quickly turned to the scanners. The ship approaching was large, black, and fast, unlike any known human vessel. Its energy signature matched none of the known spacefaring races. Raymond clenched his jaw. "They found you. Damn that tracker." He turned to Talai. "You have to hide." "No hide," she said. "They scan, they feel me." Raymond paced. "I need a plan, fast." He rushed back to the engineering deck, grabbed his toolkit, and pulled out a signal dampener, a small device that could block tracking pulses. He returned to the bridge and attached it to the console. "Echo Hawk," he barked. "Cut all non-essential power. Mask life signs. Begin stealth protocol." "Acknowledged," said the AI. The ship dimmed. Systems powered down. Engines fell silent. Echo Hawk became a ghost in space. But Raymond knew it wasn't enough. The hunters would still come. They would scan the ship, maybe board it. He turned to Talai. "You need to go into the core." Talai stepped back. "Too hot. Too strong." "I burn." Raymond shook his head. "You can absorb energy, right? The ship's core will feed you. You'll be safe. They won't scan there." Talai looked unsure. "I'll come back for you. I promise." Slowly she nodded. Raymond led her to the core chamber, a place where normal humans wore heat suits. He opened the sealed hatch, and the warmth rushed out like wind from an oven. Talai stepped inside. Her skin brightened again, slowly absorbing the radiation. The fear in her face began to fade. Before the door closed, she whispered, "Thank you." "Raymond," he paused, "I'll protect you." The hatch sealed. Now Raymond was alone again. Minutes later, the alien warship arrived. It stopped just a few kilometers from Echohawk. A sharp voice came through the comms. "Unregistered vessel, respond. You are carrying illegal cargo. Prepare to be boarded." Raymond sat back in his chair. His voice was calm. "This is Captain Raymond of the human ship Echohawk. You're trespassing in a neutral sector. Identify yourselves. You have something. That belongs to us. Surrender the subject. Or die." Raymond smiled coldly. "She's not a subject. She's free, and you're not getting her." There was silence. "Then, you will regret that decision." The alien ship loomed like a shadow across the stars. It was 3 times the size of Echohawk, sleek, dark, and deadly. Its surface had no windows, no signs of life, just smooth, silent metal. Like a predator, Captain Raymond sat in his command chair, calm on the outside but burning inside. The enemy's voice still echoed in his ears. "Surrender the subject. Or die." He looked at the sealed hatch behind him, the door to the ship's energy core. Talai was inside, absorbing radiation, hidden deep in the heart of the ship. Had 12 minutes. Maybe less. Raymond activated his manual defense system. Not the fancy AI weapons. No, he pulled out the manual targeting joystick, the kind no one used anymore. The AI asked him once, "Manual control? Confirm?" "Yes." He answered, "They've got tech. I've got instincts." He powered down most of the ship's systems, lights, heating, even the food processor. Echohawk went dark. The ship became a cold, dead rock in space. To any outsider, it looked abandoned. That was the plan. Raymond leaned forward and studied the radar. The alien ship was scanning them, slow, deep pulses. Energy waves passed through the hull like invisible hands feeling through steel. He held his breath. Inside the core chamber, Talai sat with her eyes closed, her arms wrapped around her knees. Her skin glowed brighter now, pulsing slowly like a sleeping star. The energy from the core fed her. But she was not relaxed. She was listening. She could feel the pressure outside, the enemy's presence. They were close. She could sense their hunger. They didn't just want her back. They wanted to break her again. Talai whispered to herself, a soft sound in her ancient tongue. A prayer, perhaps. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. Back on the bridge, Raymond saw the enemy ship move. It launched a small boarding craft, a sleek pod heading straight for Echohawk. "Here we go," Raymond whispered. He activated his trap grid. 2 months ago, in a lonely repair station, Raymond had installed old-school magnetic mines on his ship's underside. Not for war, just in case. Just like this. As the enemy pod came closer, its scanners disabled Raymond's communications. A red alarm flashed silently. Raymond grinned. "You think we're helpless? You don't know humans." He waited. Then hit the trigger. Boom. The mines exploded outward in a controlled blast, blinding light, zero sound. The pod twisted, spun out of control, and slammed into a nearby asteroid. Raymond's ship shook slightly, but it held. The radar showed the pod floating disabled. The main enemy ship began to charge its weapons. "They're mad now," Raymond muttered. "Good." Suddenly Talai's voice came through the comms. "Raymond, let me help." He froze. "Talai, how are you?" "The energy. It speaks to me. I can reach the enemy, if you let me." "No, stay hidden. They'll detect you. They already feel me. I can mask us." "But I need full core access." Raymond paused. It was a gamble. If she was wrong, the core could overload. But if she was right. He opened the emergency override. "Do it. Fast." Inside the core, Talai stood tall. Energy flowed through her, now like fire through wires. Her eyes glowed bright white. She raised her hands. The ship responded. Electric pulses moved through the Echohawk systems like waves. Lights flickered, then steadied. Shields folded inward, cloaking the ship with an energy shell tali shaped from within. To the alien sensors, Echohawk vanished. It became one with the stars, invisible, silent. Raymond stared at the radar. They've lost us. But the aliens were angry. Their ship began to fire randomly into the field blasts of plasma, ripping through asteroids. Raymond dodged and weaved through debris, flying the Echohawk like an old fighter pilot from the early Mars wars. Tali's cloak was fading. The energy was draining her. Her light dimmed again. Raymond made a decision. We can't run forever. He looked at the nearby nav chart. One place stood out. Sector 19R, an abandoned mining zone full of scrap, rock, and old satellites. Dangerous, dirty, perfect for hiding. He punched in the coordinates. Hold on, Tali, I'm taking us into hell. The Echohawk jumped. Behind them, the alien ship followed. But when they exited the jump tunnel, the aliens saw only chaos metal chunks, dead ships, clouds of asteroid dust. The Echohawk twisted. Between them, vanishing inside. The hunters fired mist. Raymond whispered, "Let's see if you're ready for human games." He cut all power again. Dead silent. Hidden. The alien ship circled. Scanned. Waited. Then left. They gave up. Inside the core room, Tali collapsed. Raymond rushed in, catching her before she fell. Her body was cold. Her glow almost gone. Tali, stay with me. She opened her eyes just a little. You saved me. Again, Raymond smiled. No, we saved each other. He lifted her gently, carried her to the medbed, and wrapped her in thermal blankets. The ship was quiet now. Safe for the moment, but Raymond knew this wasn't over. They would come again. With bigger ships, stronger weapons. And next time, he'd need more than just tricks. He looked at Tali and whispered, "We'll make a plan, together." Silence, real silence. For the first time in days, the ship Echohawk floated without being chased, scanned, or shot at. It drifted inside the broken metal graveyard of Sector 19R, an old mining field filled with abandoned ships, half-dead satellites, and forgotten space junk. But inside Echohawk, there was no peace. Captain Raymond stood in the medbay, watching over Tali. Her glow had dimmed to almost nothing. Her breathing was shallow, her skin cold. She had used everything, her strength, her energy, even her life force to protect them. Raymond sat beside her. He held her small hand carefully, afraid it might fall apart in his grip. "You shouldn't have done it alone," he whispered. "You didn't have to save me, but you did. And now I don't know how to save you." The IS voice interrupted softly, almost like it understood the mood. Core radiation stable. Cloaking system inactive. Life signs, one alien entity, critical condition. Raymond ran a hand through his hair. "I know." He looked at the power board. The ship's fuel was running low. Damaged from the chase, fried from the overload, and leaking slowly from sections the auto repair bots hadn't reached yet. Worse, they had no backup fuel cells left. Tali had absorbed what little reserves they had to power the cloak. She needed energy. Real energy. Raymond stood and opened the ship's star map. Only one place was close enough. Outpost IX-9, human military relay base. Built on an asteroid. Heavy security. Tracked everything that moved. Raymond had been there once years ago to drop supplies. They didn't welcome surprises. "Perfect," Raymond muttered. "If they find Tali, they'll lock her in a lab or throw her in a dark cell." He looked back at her glowing frame. "I won't let that happen." 3 hours later, Echohawk began its slow approach toward Outpost IX-9. Raymo and cleaned the ship. erased logs, rewrote sections of the manifest. He forged a new ship ID under an old trader license. Everything had to look normal. He moved Tali to a hidden section inside the cargo wall, a narrow radiation-shielded compartment meant to store dangerous chemicals. It was cold, small, and dark. He didn't like doing it. But it was the only place where scanners wouldn't pick her up. Before sealing the panel, Tali opened her eyes slightly. "Why hide me?" "From your people?" Raymond looked away. "Because they won't understand you. They'll fear you." She smiled weakly. "But you didn't." "No," he said softly. "But I've seen what fear makes people do. I'm not risking you." Taylor reached out and touched his arm. A faint pulse traveled into his skin warmth, a soft memory. It felt like trust. "Believe you," she whispered. Then she closed her eyes again. Raymond sealed the panel. Outpost IX-9 hailed the ship as it entered range. "This is Commander Rees of Outpost IX-9. Identify and declare cargo." Raymond replied in a smooth, calm voice. "This is trader vessel Grey Drift, Captain Raymond Zero, bringing scrap parts from Sector 19R Light Hall. Ship's in bad shape, need repair." There was a pause. "Transmitting docking coordinates. Prepare for scan." Raymond held his breath as the scan passed through his ship. The modified walls held strong. No alarms, no red lights. No mention of Tali. The ship docked as the outer hatch opened. Raymond was greeted by two soldiers in full armor and a red-eyed scanning drone hovering nearby. "Cargo check." One of them barked. "Be my guest," Raymond said, nodding politely. They searched the ship, opened crates, looked in fuel rooms. One even glanced at the sealed wall behind which Tali slept, but didn't scan it. Raymond's heart beat hard the whole time. Inside the outpost, Raymond ordered repair work. While the bots patched his fuel line and recharged his systems, he walked through the station like he belonged. He overheard soldiers talking. Pirates hit a convoy near Sector 12. Weapons missing. Alien sightings up again. Same energy readings. Command's nervous. They think something's out there. Something big. Raymond's jaw clenched. He knew who they were talking about. Tali. She was no weapon. But to them, that didn't matter. He bought a full canister of clean fuel. It would feed Echohawk's core and hopefully give Tali enough energy to recover. He walked back toward his ship, but just before entering the dock, a voice called out behind him, "Captain Zero." Raymond turned slowly. A woman in an officer's uniform approached. "Commander Rees, you didn't mention your ship passed through Nebula Sector 81, she said. Raymond shrugged. "Didn't think it mattered." Rees narrowed her eyes. "Ships that went through there recently have reported strange anomalies. Lost signals, fuel disruptions." Raymond's pulse picked up. Echohawk had some minor power trouble, sure. But I thought it was just system age. Commander Rees stepped closer. "You sure you didn't pick up anything unusual?" Raymond smiled. "If I did, I'd be selling it, wouldn't I?" She stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Safe travels, Captain." Hours later, Echohawk detached from the outpost. Raymond poured the new fuel into the ship's reserve tank. The engines hummed. The lights brightened. The ship felt alive again. He rushed to the sealed wall, opened the panel, and gasped, "Tal, I was." Glowing again, her skin bright and steady. She was floating gently in the air, barely touching the walls. Her eyes opened slowly. "Raymond," she said softly. "You're okay," he whispered. She smiled. "You didn't give me away. Never." She looked at him, long and deep. "Then I stay. With you. Always." Raymond exhaled and nodded. "We've still got a long road ahead, Tali, and I don't think they're done chasing us." Tali stepped out, light spreading around her. "Then let's stop running." The stars outside the Echohawk seemed quieter now. Raymond leaned back in his captain's chair, staring into the void. Everything felt still but not peaceful. It was the calm that came before a storm. Behind him, Tali sat on the floor near the power core, her legs crossed like a child, floating slightly above the metal. Her glow had returned, but it was different now. Brighter, sharper. She was changing. Raymond had noticed it 2 days ago. The ship's systems began reacting to her presence faster than before. Doors opened before she touched them. Lights flickered to her heartbeat. Gravity shifted around her when she got upset. It was like she and the Echo Hawk were merging. At first, it helped. The ship flew smoother. Repairs went quicker. But then the strange effects began. The ship's AI started lagging. Backup systems fried. And worst of all, Echo Hawk's emergency beacon activated on its own. Raymond had disabled it immediately, but the signal had gone out. A pulse, short, sharp, but loud enough to wake every listening ear in space. They were no longer invisible. Tali hadn't noticed the damage she was causing. She smiled more. Laughed, even. She was learning Earth languages, music, food. She had favorite things now, like cherry-flavored gel packs and old Earth comedy shows. She mimicked Raymond's words with curiosity and joy. But Raymond? He was growing silent, distant, not because he didn't care, but because he cared too much. He had lead for her, fought for her, saved her. And now he might lose everything because of her. That night, Raymond sat alone in the cockpit, staring at the recorded distress signal on the monitor. It was weak, but it had reached someone. A reply signal echoed faintly in the background. Human, from a patrol ship. They were on their way, and worse, Tali had begun to glow uncontrollably while she slept. Her light had started burning the walls. Echo Hawk, Raymond whispered. Run biosystem analysis. The ship's soft voice replied. Alien entity is producing unregulated energy waves. Current levels will overload core systems in 48 hours. Raymond closed his eyes. How do I stop it? Unknown. He walked to the core room. Tali looked up at him with a happy smile. Raymond, I fixed power thing today, see? She waved her hand and a broken screen lit up. Raymo didn't smile back. His face was serious, tired. Tali, he said gently. We need to talk. She blinked. Is something wrong? You're getting stronger. Yes, she said proudly. You helped. Ship helps. That's the problem, Tali. You're too strong for this ship. It can't hold you anymore. Tali looked down. Her glow dimmed a little. You want me to leave? Raymond sat beside her. It's not about what I want. It's about survival. If you stay, the ship might die. We might both die. I can control it, she said quickly. I just need more time. We don't have time. His voice cracked. There was a long pause. Tali stood up. Then I leave. Raymond looked at her in shock. What? I fly. Into space. Far away. You stay safe. He stood. No. That's not what I meant. Tali smiled sadly. You saved me. Many times. Now I save you. Raymond grabbed her shoulders. Tali, you are not a weapon. You're not a bomb I send into space. You're my friend. But I hurt your ship. You didn't mean to. I might hurt humans next. Raymond sighed. That's not your fault. That's theirs for not understanding. Tali looked away. Then help them understand. Raymond paused. The thought hit him like a punch to the chest. He could tell the humans everything. Go public. Show them what Tali really was, not a threat, but a miracle. But would they believe him? Would they welcome her? Or would they just take her and never let her go again? That night, Raymond recorded a message. To any human ship receiving this, I am Captain Raymond Zero, commander of the Echo Hawk. I've encountered a life form unlike anything we've seen. She's not hostile. She's not a threat. She's alive, intelligent, and scared. We need to stop seeing aliens as enemies and start seeing them as people. He hesitated, then turned the camera to Tyle, sleeping quietly in her glowing cocoon. She saved my life, more than once. Now it's my turn to protect hers. He sent the message. A bold move. Dangerous, but it was the only way forward. An hour later, alarms rang again. Multiple ships entering the sector. Human ships this time. Raymond stood in the cockpit, watching their blinking lights grow larger. Behind him, Tyle entered, calm and glowing. She touched his hand. Are they here? To help? Raymond didn't know, but he squeezed her hand. They better be. The human ships arrived in formation 6 in total. Sharp, silver, and fast, military class. They moved with precision, engines humming like thunder in the dark. From the bridge of Echohawk, Raymond watched them draw closer. His message had been received, but not answered. No greetings. No open channels, just silence and a growing presence. He didn't know if they were here to help or take. Behind him, Tyle stood still. She was glowing softly, her long silver hair floating like it was caught in a breeze no one else could feel. She was calm, but her hands were clenched. She could feel the tension, the fear, the judgment already forming. Are they angry? She asked. Raymond didn't turn around. They don't know what to feel yet, maybe. That's worse. On the lead ship, the Sentinel Commander Juno watched the Echohawk through the screen. Her crew had listened to Raymond's message, watched the alien girl, scanned the ship. And now? They waited. The readings didn't lie. The alien girl was powerful, beyond anything human tech had seen. She could feed on nuclear cores, manipulate gravity, even alter heat signatures with her breath. She was beautiful, intelligent, mysterious. And terrifying. Juno turned to her team. Prepare boarding sequence. Raymond's comms lit up. A voice crackled through. Captain Raymond, this is Commander Juno of the Sentinel. You will allow our team to board immediately. Raymond didn't flinch. She's not a threat. We will decide that. Tyle touched his shoulder. It's okay. Let them come. Raymond looked at her. Are you sure? She nodded. Let them see. Minutes later, 6 armored soldiers stepped into Echohawk. Raymond stood between them. And Tyle, hands open, heart pounding. She's not a weapon, he said. She's a survivor, a friend. One soldier raised a scanner. It beeped wildly as it neared Tyle. He stepped back. She's emitting waves strong enough to power a city, he said. This is dangerous. She's learning to control it, Raymond replied. She's growing. Commander Juno entered. Behind them, helmet off. Her eyes locked onto Tyle. You don't look like a weapon, she said coldly. Tyle tilted her head. You don't look like fear. The room went quiet. Then the station's SI chimed in suddenly. Emergency broadcast. Pirate fleet detected. 5 hostile ships entering Sector 19 are armed, approaching human vessels. Juno turned sharply. Status? Engines disabled. Communications jammed. We are trapped. The pirates were fast, brutal, old Earth rebels turned mercenaries. They had no honor, just guns, greed, and no mercy for weakness. Their ships surrounded the outpost and fired without warning. One blast struck the hull of the Sentinel. Alarms screamed. Echohawk shook violently. Shields down. Power grid failing. Someone shouted. The boarding crew raised weapons. We need to fall back. Tyle stepped forward, her skin glowing brighter than ever. Her feet rose slightly above the floor. I can help, she said. Commander Juno looked at her, unsure. How? Tyle looked at Ray Omon. He nodded. Show them who you are. Tyle floated to the bridge of Echohawk. She raised her arms, and the ship lit up from within. Energy pulsed through every cable, every circuit. The AI rebooted. Shields snapped back online. Then her light reached beyond the ship into space itself. She stretched out her hands, and energy surged from her body like solar flares. The pirate ships fired again, but their blasts melted in mid-space, absorbed by a golden shield around the fleet. Talai's eyes turned white. She spoke in a language no one knew, pure energy. One pirate ship's engine stopped completely. Another turned and ran. The rest tried to fight. But the next pulse from Talai's body sent a shockwave through space that shattered one of the pirate weapons mid-fire. Echohawk floated unharmed. So did the Sentinel. So did every human ship. Not one human died. Not one. When it was over, the space was quiet again. Talai collapsed to her knees. Her light faded to a soft glow. Raymond rushed to her side. "You did it. You saved them." She looked up weakly. "Do they believe now?" He looked up. Commander Juno and her team stood in silence, faces stunned, eyes wide. Then, slowly, Juno knelt. "On behalf of humanity." "Thank you," Talai smiled gently. "I just wanted to be free." 1 week later, the Echohawk was docked at a peaceful human station. Talai was no longer a secret. No longer a stowaway. She was an ambassador. A symbol of hope. Scientists wanted to study her. Some still feared her. But millions saw her as something more. Not a weapon. Not an alien. A new beginning. Raymond stood by her side during the first official meeting with Earth Command. When asked why he risked everything to protect her, he said only one sentence: "She reminded me what it means to be human." And from that day forward, the galaxy changed. Because humanity, flawed, wild, stubborn, looked at a glowing alien girl who once drank fuel in secret. And said together, "She's one of us."